Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Panda.
And I'm Rockstar.
And you can go fuck yourself. Welcome to Last Week in Geek, the video podcast for mainly Battleships, where we take you through all the interesting things that happened last week in Geek.
We would like to remind you at this point that while he may be a straight white cis male, I am not cis, nor white, nor straight.
This is the part where I remind you that using the term cis in a not unhumorous context, I can barely take you seriously.
I'm just stating facts.
We got some deep and exciting topics for you today in this episode, but first we're going to talk about some new trailers that have come out. More expansive than in the last episode. By the way, the dog's doing fine. Thank you for your concern. Trailers this week include the new Wonder Woman 1984, because it's going to be about Soviets, we think. Actually, they didn't say a damn thing about the Soviet Union during the trailer, but they did have that BTR, like it's a Soviet armored car running along that road in that one scene, so I assume it's going to be about commies.
No, it's clearly Wonder Woman 1984 because they can't do Wonder Woman 2. The logo, WW84, they can't do WW12.
I mean, they should, because, I don't know, where the heck was Wonder Woman during the Battle of Normandy? That seems like something that she could really amp it up a little bit.
Don't get me started about how much I hate her moral compass being Steve.
Another trailer that we got to see was for Mulan. New, big, epic, very reminiscent of movies like The Great Wall and other Chinese domestic-biased movies.
So far in the trailer, it seems it's going to be another Lion King where they suck all the soul out of their loving classics.
Hey, there's a phoenix. There's a phoenix.
It's not Mushu.
The hawk is now, like, an animagus.
It doesn't replace the Mushu. Or the songs. I mean, cool cultural, reverence they're doing there.
I'm convinced that the only reason they decided to change her name is not to match the original Chinese version of Mulan, rather to get over the rather embarrassing aspect of her legal name being Fa Ping.
What?
Spell it out.
Fa Ping. F-A... Oh. Yeah, that's actually pretty bad, Disney, now that I think about it. I'm just gonna move on to Black Widow. It looks very James Bond with a huge mix of comedy. I don't know.
That's what Black Widow is. Black Widow is just kind of like a female James Bond. And there's that guy who shoots arrows. And like Captain Hammer and Sickle is going to be in it or something. I don't know what his name is.
Well, here's hoping that it replaces her awful ending. On a streaming site that nobody cares about, Apple TV Plus, we have a new sci-fi series. Would you care to introduce it further than that?
You just want to do that because you can't pronounce Isaac Asimov.
Yes.
Isaac Asimov's major science fiction series, The Foundation, is finally being adapted to something for, quote, television, aka streaming services. It sounds like the focus is really going to be on the dynamic of what was actually only a couple chapters in the original book. I guess it's going to be like with The Man in the High Castle, where they're like, let's see how much we can drag out of this lore. I
mean, to be fair, his daughter is going to be one of the executive producers, so that could be a plus, but it's on Apple TV Plus.
So no one's going to see it.
Exactly. No one's going to watch it.
And while Apple TV struggles to make people consider them relevant, HBO is bringing out a new exciting documentary about that movie creator, Mel Brooks. Decades in the making, we finally get some behind-the-scenes look at his process and his humor. And please just release it before he dies. Mel Brooks, make another movie. I want History of the World Part 2.
To be fair, the trailer looks just as funny as a bunch of his movies with his same dry wit everywhere. It's about the only trailer this week that I have nothing negative to say about. And this week, we're going to roll out a new segment called Meme of the Week. This week, it's the Peloton ads. Don't know if you saw the original ad for this stationary bike, but it went viral because of how sexist everyone was calling it.
Oh my god. I like your careful phrasing there.
It got a parody, very well made, about the woman in the ad serving her husband divorce papers. That's not all. As if it hadn't already gone viral, Ryan Reynolds jumped into the mix with his
Aviation
amazing
gin.
ad for his gin. Aviation gin. Had the original actress in the Peloton commercial come in as I don't know, like an after divorce party
It's strongly implied. Everything was strongly implied. Nothing was said out loud, but it was strongly implied.
I love the memes. I think this should be a permanent segment. A little thing to brighten up your day.
Fandoms the world over were saddened, however, to hear of two major character passings this past week. One of which was Carol Spinney, the guy best known for doing Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street. Despite having retired from full-time puppeteering last year, he was continuing to provide the voices for the characters up through his death. This was a role that he had been doing for 50 years.
The other actor who sadly passed away was Rene Aubergenois, known by Trekkies worldwide as Odo. He was also the father in the MASH movie, and even voiced the homicidal chef in The Little Mermaid.
South Park is in the news again.
And no, it's not about China this time. In the very last episode that they aired, Basic Cable, they actually flashed a real callable phone number that would reach a message from Trey talking about all their new streamable shows that you can buy from him.
Always a mistake.
The unfortunate part about this is that we have a lot of people who apparently can't dial a phone number anymore because everyone just picks their contacts and kept dialing the wrong number. About 200 plus phone calls and messages to a poor person's work phone.
A plea subsequently went out on Twitter that was retweeted by the official South Park Twitter, asking people, please, use the correct number. Which, by the way, is now at the bottom of the screen. If you really want to check out the call-in number, it's 719-838-4002.
Check it out.
Meanwhile, Sony went ahead and released something called PlayStation 4 Lineup Music Video Winter Mix, which, as you all can tell, is a title that's way too long to be doing anything with. And that's probably what spelled the trouble.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really tell you what it's a promotional ad. And yet, it has recently been removed from YouTube due to retracing controversies.
In the spirit of the Walt Disney Company during the Robin Hood era, it has been said that one of the artists responsible for a segment within this super overly long titled thing had retraced segments from things such as the Steven Universe movie, among others.
The animation company in question, Alien Animation, has actually made very conflicting statements about this whole thing. In the first statement, they stated that the animator responsible for these segments, Kevin Bao, was in fact released from their employment. And yet in another one, they said that he was not employed for about 2 years. Due to the controversy, Kevin Bao has wiped all of his social media presence off the internet. And his agency has actually wiped him off of the website as well. So I don't think he's going to be getting much jobs as an animator anytime soon. Surprising literally nobody, Disney has made a shit ton of money this year. They're currently sitting very coolly on a $9.9 billion, and that has already smashed their record from last year, which was a $7.6 billion made. Of course, Rise of Skywalker still hasn't come out, so $10 billion's not that far off by the end of the year.
Now we have to predict whether or not the Rise of Skywalker is actually going to be awesome or be a complete failure. And my stock portfolio needs to make a decision very soon.
Well, you realize that number doesn't even include the Fox properties they own.
Listen, the future of the Star Wars franchise rests on whether or not they can bring this to an important conclusion, one that actually pleases their test audiences, and perhaps recovers slightly from the hot mess that the last movie was. Don't roll your eyes at me, you know I'm right.
I love The Last Jedi.
I like it too! It's also a hot mess!
You know they're never going to be able to make this much money next year.
You don't know that. Disney Plus alone might rake in $3 billion. For our next story, it seems that YouTube is not the only platform that is being accused of suppressing content from the LGBT, disabled, and other minority communities. At least this platform has come right out and admitted it. That's TikTok. You know, TikTok, the ones who also are, known for suppressing things about Hong Kong, but that's another story entirely.
TikTok, the platform that we know so much about because we're hip with the kids. We're totally not on fogies at all. I've given you confidence.
100 likes and we start an official TikTok. There's no hope. We'll never get that many likes.
But they will suppress me. I'm all of the markers. I'm every minority community.
It's fine. My whiteness will bring us back up to the threshold.
But you're fat.
Damn!
Hashtag not sorry. Right, TikTok. That lovable platform.
Now, the great thing about the TikTok thing is that everything was framed as, I'm TikTok. I'm helping. And in their mind, what they were doing was using a system to help cut down on potential bullying. Because, of course, that's a major concern for a lot of social media platforms. You put yourself out there, you want to communicate with your friends or talk about important issues, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, you're so ugly! What's wrong with you, fridge raider?
The best way to combat cyberbullying is to make sure that particular creator's videos can't get out of, one, their home country, or even into users' inboxes by flagging them. Not with an algorithm, but with actual TikTok moderators who would go through, given the instructions.
Gay, fat, gay.
And they were taught to do it by view as well, with birthmarks, squinty eyes, and other...
They said it, not me.
Other aspects that would make you not look like a normal person.
Which is really weird considering TikTok is headquartered in China.
Or susceptible to cyberbullying in some way, shape, or form. TikTok has come out and said that they realized that their method was not the correct one, and has since...
Who could have imagined?
And has since ended the practice of having moderators flag their videos because they put in a new system in September. We have no idea what the new system is. They didn't bother to elaborate further.
Squinty eyes.
Squinty eyes, yes, that's not me. That's in the article. You're more than welcome to read it.
I mean, heck, if we keep it up, maybe we'll even get another video deleted.
I mean, I don't understand why they just don't combat cyberbullying by, I don't know, punishing the bullies. Gotta always punish the creators. We're gonna be punished because kids watch us. And for our last story, we have a hashtag cancel culture story.
My favorite.
This time, it's h3h3. Now, what offensive thing could they have possibly said?
This time.
It is Ethan, after all. I mean, these last few podcasts, I'm waiting for a t-shirt that says, wait until after the break and I'll say something racist.
Careful, if you keep saying that, the algorithm will pick it up, and then it will appear on one of those automated bot sites as a t-shirt. You know, that's a story we probably should have covered at some point. They proved that, yes, they just kind of pick stuff up. My favorite is the picture that says, this is not fair use. I totally copied Disney. This is a copyright infringement. It just has this really obscenely drawn Mickey Mouse. And yeah, the t-shirt site totally picked it up and printed it.
What offensive thing that they could have possibly said? The fact that Ethan doesn't understand, nor does he like K-pop. Am I boiling down what he actually said into one overall umbrella thing? Yeah, sure.
He said a lot of things.
He said a lot of things that would not only get us demonetized, but probably also just as much trouble as he's found himself in.
What are you worried about? You already said fuck like 4 times.
But I do want to point something out to you. He
was right!
He ironically stated something that I don't think K-pop fans really give a shit about. He stated that K-pop is all about little girls and little boys jerking off to men. If you guys remember, a long time ago, I did a good amount of research about the K-pop industry and its dark side. And if you don't know that there's a dark side to K-pop, please feel free to watch not just my video, but actually go and Google it, because it's actually pretty easy to find this more than common fact. I do want to give you trigger warning from here on out, because I will be talking about things like suicide. But here's the thing, guys. K-pop is not all that great. Like, those people are being abused. They don't make the money from all those CDs that you buy, or even specific merch for a person that you like out of a band member. They don't get that money. They go to a school to be taught these things from a young age. They don't get rights over their stuff for like decades. If they want to move on in their profession to go to be an actress or something, like, they have to ask permission. These people are not allowed to have boyfriend and girlfriends because Guess what? They are advertised to be sexualized to you. There are multiple scandals, notable scandals that have made the news about these women and men who cannot even go on and move on to a romantic relationship because they're supposed to be sexualized by you and available to you as if they're going to date a fan one day.
Living documentaries.
So you have that awful part of it where they are actually sexualized. They're actually sexualized at their own events where they have fans who touch them, grope them. They have to apologize for being assaulted and talk about their assault. They're not allowed to do that. And if they do, they have to apologize for that too. One of them got their house broken into and assaulted by men and was forced to apologize to her fans. The other awful part about this is they're so overworked that they do often commit suicide. Before you get all boiled up in your pants because of somebody's comment about not understanding K-pop,
you should know that the marketplace industry wants you to get boiled up in your pants for your Asian twink fantasy.
Sorry guys, Ethan is kind of unironically correct and he didn't even know about it because he doesn't understand the culture.
And honestly, sometimes neither do we.
No, but I can at least try to remind you guys that, yeah, there's an awful side to K-pop. Not saying you can't enjoy the music, but you should be aware of what you are buying into. That is me off my soapbox for the night. I've already been too salty about too many things. I'm leaving it off to Panda.
And that's where we're going to end things today, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode and continue to follow us through our adventures in navigating the YouTube algorithm. If you are new to the channel by some miracle, please hit subscribe and maybe like the video. In fact, maybe just share the link to some of your friends so that they too can share our awesome insights into nerdy news. Until next time.
And if you're a kid, stop watching. Like, you shouldn't have watched this at all. Fuck off.
So until next time, this has been Mr. Panda
And Rockstar.
from Manly Battleships. See you next week.
Goodbye.